Ah, Wisconsin. What does it remind you of? Beautiful lakes, friendly people, fresh-faced, cherubic children, and cheese. Lots and lots of cheese. And it's the state that's next door to the one that I live in year-round. So when I make a macaroni and cheese recipe, I like to use good old-fashioned Wisconsin cheddar. First thing I want to do, get my ½ pound of uncooked macaroni elbows in rapidly boiling salted water. Just a tablespoon or two in there will actually result in a very, very briny liquid. Now, while the noodles are cooking, we're gonna mix together our dry and wet seasonings. I have a little bit of English mustard powder, a little bit of Tabasco. I'm gonna add about 3/4 of the can of evaporated milk, 2 eggs. What I have here is a real egg and milk custard that I'm going to bind with cheese and throw underneath the broiler, and I get more of the texture that I'm looking for. Our pasta's almost done. We don't need it to cook 100% of the way, just to a firm al dente. Then season our fresh breadcrumbs. I like to make a nice crispity topping for a mac and cheese. Now with pasta, you can actually smell it when it starts to approach that nice al dente. Inhale that cooked pasta flavor. I've got a few tablespoons of butter. I'm going to add my cooked noodles. Gonna swirl this around a little to melt the butter. And then the very next move that we wanna make is to take about 3/4 of our cheese, and I always place it here into my liquid. And the reason I do that is that I'm just adding with one hand and mixing with another. Over a low heat, just keep stirring this until our cheese melts and our custard sets a little bit. Now you may be wondering, what happens to that last 1/4 of a can of evaporated milk? By adding this to the cooked custard in there, it's gonna cool down the dish enough to stop the eggs from cooking. Look at how cheesy and rich our sauce is. And we go right into a greased baking dish. I'm gonna put a little cheese on the top there, add my breadcrumbs, one last little bit of salt, and our macaroni and cheese is ready. It goes into the broiler, set the rack about 6 inches away from the broiling heat source, and keep an eye on it because it tends to cook very quickly at this point. It's set up beautifully and is holding together nicely, but it's still creamy, gooey, and cheesy. That is the mark of a great mac and cheese. It's so good. You know you want this. Oh, what? Can't have it. It's for me.